Jackman Wheels, get them on. Well, welcome Hot VWs. Right now we're in Southern California and we're at Jackman Wheels' new production facility. I'm Mitch Carley and I'd like to walk through what we've got for you, the customer, and some of the future ideas that we've got as well. Starting off, Jackman, in 1968, Harry Jackman started producing a steel wheel for the stock car business, the super stock cars. It was in San Diego area, and what was happening was the side loads of the heavier stock cars were thrusting the inserts out of the stock wheel. And Harry realized if he got a heavier wheel and created a heavier insert and did a 360-degree weld all the way around, and this was just the best use of the material, he was hand cutting the inserts. And these wheels became famous on the track because they weren't busting apart and they could take the heavier loads and they could take the higher horsepower. So Jackman, Harry Jackman, ended up, and they just became known as Jackman Wheels, and ultimately they became synonymous in what we now know today as the white wagon wheel. In fact, that was the beginning of it, was 1968 out of his backyard garage, and by 1974 he had produced what we now call the original 7. These are 7 bold spoke, here's the 7th pattern on the back, 7 bold spokes that were perfected by 1974. So when we talk about the business and we talk about the company and the pedigree of it, we do say that it was established in 1974, even though he did start in 1968. So by 74, the company was producing not only wheels that you just saw and that you're looking at here as a faithful reproduction, but those were also OEM wheels for Subaru. They were on television, on Mork and Mindy, and the list goes on and on and on. Jackman Wheels was literally everywhere. Why is that? Well, one of the secret sauce aspects of it is this outer hoop is a 1/4 inch thick stock. That does not exist today. We have sourced and we have produced. This is a brand new outer hoop. It's a brand new insert. It's a brand new wheel, faithfully reproduced using today's technology, and also some of the challenges that were perfected in the past. By the time 1985 came around, Harry had several solutions on a few issues. One of them was people were claiming, and if you didn't retighten your lug nuts, these are a straight back flat piece of stock, and on that flat back piece of stock, unlike a stamped, call it production automotive wheel, there wasn't enough back pressure. So you had to go in and retorque that. And we've got a few aspects that we'll talk about later on how we've addressed that. So we're excited to not only bring back the faithfully reproduced steel, but Harry, which now getting into Hot VWs and the passion audience that's looking at this, all of you, many of you recognize this as the Lightning. And this is the Star Lightning Jackman. It was a multi-piece wheel. It's spun aluminum, super light. Harry knew that unsprung weight was paramount in air-cooled and air-cooled off-road use. No reason to carry such a heavy load, even though, and we'll get into it, the off-road hardcore buggy people still enjoy a heavier steel spoke. But Harry wanted to move into, as I said, a lighter weight wheel, and we're excited today that we're going to be showing you the next step in the evolution of that wheel. This particular wheel was two-piece construction. You can see the fasteners here. These were aviation grade fasteners. And what happened was there's a seam here, the outer and the inner. And a lot of times Harry would actually have people come back from racing and they would replace the outers, keep the inners, and put new fasteners on it. But clearly a seam and a sealer had to be used, and we've addressed one thing that ended up happening was you could have a leak. And with today's technology, and we'll get into that, we'll show you what the advancements are on that. So that, again, that's the two legacy models, the steel and the aluminum, and a little bit of the past on that. As we move over, Steve Chandler was so kind to allow us to display his faithfully reproduced, or I should say restored, pre-tag Manx here with Jackmans that are period correct. And that's got the Jackman 5-star steel on the front, 15 by 4s, and then 15 by 8s on the back. And we're just thrilled. And this brings back an awful lot of memories for an awful lot of people that grew up with the brand. And for those of you that have never seen the brand, thank you for tuning in, and here's what we're absolutely thrilled to share today. And that is, these are brand new Jackman one-piece 5-star Lighten 2s, we're calling them. We've got a larger pocket, a larger window, and we've got the Jackman J being shown. And the first 1,000 of these are going to be individually numbered. And we've got some graphics that show how that is going to be done. And the benefit of this particular wheel is that the spine is fully welded all the way around. So there's no leaking. And as far as tension, this is fascinating, and this has taken years to develop. But you can see an ever so slight seam through here. These two pieces are correctly machined in a way that when you compress with your lug bolt, lug stud, lug nut, it gives some back pressure on it. And these, we're finding out, are extremely tight, and they stay extremely tight. Whereas some of the earlier ones in the flatbacks, again, 25, as lug nut says, in 25 miles, tighten your lug nuts. And then on the back, there's going to be a reminder on that. This is going to come on a zip tie that's going to be inside the lug nut hole, and you will have to cut that in order to install that. And we also remind you here, and we've added a aluminum born-on date. So these just aren't stamped, and they aren't fast production wheels. This is a man and machine relationship to build this. And as Shin will show, the production on that is fascinating to watch the aluminum spin out. And to touch on that particular process, we use 100% Alcoa 5454 with a special ingredient that really gives it some high tension that some of the other Alcoa product does not go out the door with. It starts out flat, it's 1/4 inch, it gets cut round, it gets spun out, it then gets molded into whatever the fashion is. For example, this is the 4-inch wide, we've got 6-inch wide, and we've got 8-inch wide, and we'll show the 6 later. Then those two pieces get backed up with each other with that creative tension process in the center of that, and you end up with a 1/2-inch spoke, 1/2-inch thick spoke. This particular process and these particular machines and these men and women, right, again, 100% made in the United States. So we're thrilled, we're excited, and then kind of a future look. So we talked about the past and the present and now the future. Clearly this is a beadlock. This is a natural finish, a deeper and up to a 1/2-inch center spoke. This is the 5454 Alcoa as well. When our when our machines spin 5454, it hits a 240 degree temperature, and that actually treats that wheel in that spoke, in that process, in that half, where it does not have to get baked. A lot of the competition and a lot of what we would say the lesser quality alloys, they have to get baked afterwards in order for them to hit their tensile strength. That's not the case with this. This is baked, or this is heated during production. So we're absolutely thrilled about that. And coming out of that, what's going to happen with the natural finish, they're going to be tumbled. And there's two different grades of media. And what happens is it's going to deburr. It's going to eliminate any possible burr, and it also has a real nice touch to it. This one has not been tumbled yet, but we wanted to give you a future look on what we've got planned at Jackman. The Jackman, Harry and Cheryl Jackman, who are the chairperson still of this entire brand, they had an incredible relationship with a fellow by the name of Dave Big Deal. And Dave Big Deal is, I would say, the grandfather of cartoon cars. Jackman Wheels had always stood out compared to the competition with Dave Deal's incredible artwork. That artwork today still physically exists. It exists with the Jackman brand. It exists with Travis Deal, Dave's son, and he's very involved in this brand. In fact, I was with him last night. I'll be with him this evening, and he's looking forward to supplying and providing any and all assets. Dave's work, glorious work that Jeff and so many other people and us love.
A flashback, you know.
Right, it was a flashback. And on social media, it was fun. Somebody said it looked like a Tamiya ad. And that excites us because Tamiya is another brand that had Wild Willie, the Scorcher, Grasshopper, and they used the Jackman logo and the Jackman look and the Jackman brand. And I've already got relationships in with them. And we certainly hope to solidify that and have a lot more fun with them going forward as well. These fit and already are properly tested. They fit the SEMA guidelines as well. And from the DOT and from that aspect, yes, this is fully insured, fully produced. It has a track record. The process has a track record. The business has a track record today, producing some really high-grade street applications, and certainly also the drag race applications.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're starting below $300 on the 15 by 4s. So we're excited. We know that's a competitive price, especially for the legacy of the brand, the quality that we're putting out, and in the fact that it's yesterday's vibes with today's technology. All of this is available at jackmanwheels.com. Right now, it's a full secured socket layer site. You can use any major credit card for payment, and we are shipping direct to the consumer. So there's no middleman. There's nobody in the way. There's a little bit of a shipping fee, unfortunately, but we all have that ultimately in any of the cost of goods. So jackmanwheels.com. Jackman Wheels is also on Facebook. Please like us there as well. And Jackman Wheels is on Instagram, and we're active. We've got a handful of teammates, and we've got great consultants that are certainly part of Hot VWs and also have been friends of the Jackmans for decades, and they're former dealers, and they know the brand inside and out. I myself still drive on a set of 1977 Primo 8s on a Willie CJ2A that you can see at jackmanwheels.com, and so you can see on the social media site. That's a Kevlar body. It started out as a $600 vehicle that I've restored 3 times. And we're excited to have that as kind of a show buggy for us. So thank you very much for coming. We're thrilled to have you, and we certainly hope that we can answer any and all questions, and more importantly, get them on. We want to get a set of Jackmans on every possible buggy, every possible air-cooled machine, and we want to push into the older Porsche line, and we certainly are going to address, and we hear the Ghia and the bus crowd out there. That had the proper offset for the Ghia and the bus and some of the Porsche models. Jackman Wheels, get them on.